Hey guys, it is Leah and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I will be doing a match preview of the PSG versus Barcelona quarterfinals Champions League leg 1 match. That was a whole lot to say at once, but let's get into the video. So some important things to remember for this match. One of those things being that the last time Barcelona played was March 30th, so they had a really long 10-day break, whereas PSG played on March 31st, April 3rd, and April 6th. Out of those 3 games, they won 2 of them, and of course tied their most recent match, but they didn't put out their starting 11 that they usually put out, so that is something that you have to look at. It's also important to note that PSG are currently unbeaten in 5 months. The last time they lost was in the Champions League group stage against AC Milan back in November, so that's something else that we definitely as Barcelona fans should look at. In addition to that, we still don't know at the time that I'm filming this video whether Frenkie, Pedri, and Christensen will be available for the first leg against PSG. With Frenkie, there seems to be more optimism. It seems like he's already training with the first team players, but in regards to, Pedri and Christensen, it does seem like Barcelona are more cautious with them, and it's also understandable considering that, for example, Pedri's injury is more of a muscular one, whereas Frenkie is more of an impact injury. Another thing to note is that Barcelona have a handful of players that are at risk of missing the second leg against PSG if they were to receive a yellow during this match because of card accumulation. Those players include Christensen, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, João Felix, Araujo, Frenkie de Jong, and Sergi Roberto as well. So that means that for this first leg, I think they're going to be more cautious. They're going to not try and do some crazy things. They're going to be more calm in general, and that is something that could definitely cause issues for Barcelona if those players aren't able to play 100% because they're too afraid of getting another yellow. And another thing to remember is that Hakimi will be suspended for PSG for this first leg. Now let's get into Barcelona's most recent match against Las Palmas. Obviously, Barcelona did end up winning that match, but it was right before international break, and Barcelona did look pretty rusty, which is expected considering that there was a break. That being said, Barcelona did end up winning the game, but there are still things that they should have done better with. For example, the intensity that they started the match with. I feel like they allowed Las Palmas to be able to grow with their intensity from the very beginning, and they were very lucky that they didn't concede right away with the way they were performing. They looked very sloppy and sluggish at times, especially in the midfield. In the very beginning of that match, Barcelona just couldn't really gain control of the ball, and they were very sloppy with their passes. They weren't as precise with their passing, whether it was, too much force on the ball or not timing it correctly, and it felt like times that they were trying to pass blindly, which is fine if you already scanned the field, which the players have not. So they were passing sort of to just guess pretty much. And then you also have the fact that Barcelona this whole season are not as clinical up front. And once again, you saw that against Las Palmas, where already before halftime, they should have been up by 2 or 3 goals, but they just weren't as clinical, and they just need to be more precise with when and where they shoot the ball. Now, moving on from that, let's talk about individual players in that game, starting off with the goal scorer, Rafinha, who did well. He worked hard. He made those runs with Las Palmas' high line, which was great to see. And obviously, I wish that he scored another goal, which he should have, because he did and it should have counted, but that's besides the point. I think overall, Rafinha did everything that was asked of him. All you could hope is a player works hard, and that's exactly what Rafinha did. And up next, you got Lewandowski, who did not score but did play well. He dropped in deeper, and I think he did a great job in allowing Rafinha to make those runs. You also have João Felix, who had an instant impact when he came on, assisting Rafinha's goal, which was great. His crosses did well. He was playing more deep into that midfield, which was good, and I think he looked more confident. His dribbling and his crosses were also pretty good. Now, he did miss a shot, which was pretty much an open net, which I did not like, but I do think that he worked hard in that game. You also have Gundogan, who didn't do anything that was out of this world in that game, but he helped control that midfield, and he did a pretty good job at it. I also did want to talk about Paul Kubarse, who played well in that game. It's hard to believe that he's only 17 years old with the composure that he plays with. He times his challenges well. His tactics are timed well. Good in aerial duels, good in ground duels, and just able to make really good passes, good passing accuracy, good long balls as well, and able to change the direction of play and build up the play from all the way in the defense. I also did want to talk about Cancelo in that game because he didn't really have to defend much. He was playing more of a midfield role, and his crosses were good, and he was constantly like a threat to the opponents. In regards to Kundai, he wasn't doing anything that was out of this world, kept it really simple, and didn't really help out in the attack until Lamine Yamal's substitution. That's when I saw him, contribute more to the attack. Now, I did want to talk about PSG's most recent matches. I did want to be honest with you guys and say that I've not been watching PSG play at all this season. I don't really watch Ligue 1, so all I know is from highlights and what people have been saying. So from what I've seen, I feel like they do rely a lot on Mbappe. He has been playing more on the left-hand side. It also seems like PSG is a team that uses a lot of high pressure, whether it's defending or in the attack. They also are a team that if they lose the ball, they will use high pressure to win that ball back. So that's something that Barcelona should definitely look out for. And I've also seen that sometimes defensively, they do keep a high line. Now, we all are familiar with PSG's manager, Luis Enrique, especially Barcelona fans, considering that he did manage the club at one point. Luis Enrique is a great manager and a manager that has a lot of experience. So it does worry me that he may be able to already expect the unexpected with Barcelona. I will say that PSG is also a team that have used various different tactics this season depending on who their opponents are. So they have tried like a wide range of things. Now going into this game, the big focus for Barcelona will be on Mbappe because we know that Mbappe is a threat with the speed he has and also the accuracy he has to shoot the ball in the net. Something that Barcelona have to do is make sure that there's never a 1-versus-1 situation against Mbappe. Two players have to be on him at all times. They have to be focused on him. However, I will say that Barcelona can't shift too much of their attention on Mbappe because I feel like that then opens up the door for other PSG players to attack. I feel like we can't allow Mbappe to shift all the attention of all the defenders on him. This season, we have seen like Barcelona implement like a similar method with Lewandowski, taking the attention away from the opponents, and that has allowed the other Barcelona players to move up and attack and make those runs. So something that Barcelona already know works for them, so why wouldn't PSG use it? Dembele is another player to look out for. Barcelona fans are of course familiar with him. He has that speed, he's good at 1-versus-1s, he's good at dribbling, and the only thing that he may not be good at is his accuracy when it comes to shooting. But when you give him the time and space to score, he'll be able to beat you. One thing Barcelona can't do is allow PSG time and space and the ability to increase their intensity. Because once you do that, especially since this is a home match for PSG, they do have that home advantage, then that does cause concern for Barcelona to build up their attack. Barcelona cannot be sloppy with their passes. They have to be precise and accurate because the minute you lose the ball, that opens up a threat for themselves because that allows, PSG to have the ball and give the ball to Mbappe if he doesn't have it already. I think this is pretty obvious. Barcelona cannot hesitate. They have to be confident with everything they do on that field. However, they shouldn't rush because as soon as Barcelona rush, they're more prone to making mistakes. With Hakimi being out for the first leg, you do want to take advantage of that right-hand side. So I do feel like a lot of the attack has to be from there. Barcelona definitely needs to play a more direct style of football. Now, I did want to talk about two specific players, Kundai and Cancelo, for this game. So, in regards to Kundai, he usually just stays there defending and doesn't really come up to attack. But for this game, I feel like he should to help out Barcelona and provide an advantage for Barca. However, if he is that defender that has to go up against Mbappe, that may be a huge threat. Because he has to be able to track back quickly enough to deal with Mbappe, to make sure there's no 1-versus-1 situation there with if Araujo's there, for example, to have to deal with Mbappe. And while Kundai does have pace, Mbappe is quicker, so that's going to be difficult. In regards to Cancelo, the last match against Las Palmas, I did mention that he played more of a midfielder, but in this game, he definitely has to track back as quick as possible because something tells me that PSG are going to be on it when it comes to those counterattacks. Now let's get into the starting 11 for this match. At goal, I have Ter Stegen, and that's pretty much an obvious. In terms of the defense, the two center backs I have for this game are Araujo and Kubar. Kubarsi. Obviously, Araujo offers that aggressiveness, and I think he'll do well against Mbappe. In regards to Kubarsi, he has proven himself, and his ability to build up the attack from all the way in the back has been proven important. Now, for the fullbacks, I think it's pretty obvious. I have Kundai as the right back and Cancelo as the left back. Now, the defense, I've kept it the way it is because if it is working, do not change it. Now, for the midfield, it is going to be tricky considering the injuries that Barcelona have there with Pedri, Frankie, and Christensen. Now, it does seem like Frankie has more of a chance to play that game, but then it does pose the question of whether he should start or whether you just don't risk him and just have him be subbed on because you still need him for the second leg. So taking that all to account, I have two different options. The first one being Gundogan, Sergio Roberto, and Fermin Lopez if, the injured players are still not able to play. And my second option is basically Gundogan, have Sergio Roberto also because I think Sergio Roberto has been doing well and he does offer that experience and has the ability to make those runs and help Barcelona go out more wide to have more options moving forward. And then if Christensen is available, I would love to see him play in that pivot position because he provides stability in that midfield. And finally, for that attack as striker, I have Lewandowski because he has that experience and has been performing well as of lately. For the right wing, I have Lamine Yamal because good dribbling, good at 1v1s, has that speed, and he's the biggest threat Barcelona have when it comes to those 1v1s. For the left wing, I have Rafinha because he's been working hard and he has a lot of energy, and he also tracks back to help out defensively as well. Going into this game, I do hope that Barcelona win. However, I wouldn't be against the tie considering that the second leg is at home, and I feel like it won't be bad as long as Barcelona don't lose by more than one goal, because if it is by more than one goal, that does pose concern for Barcelona moving into the second leg. My prediction for this match is a 1-1 draw between PSG and Barca. I am confident in Barcelona's abilities, but there is still some concern with Mbappe being a huge threat. Anyways, guys, that is the end of today's video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be sure to also comment your score prediction for this game and who you think is going to win. I'll be sure, like always, to leave my social media in the description box, my Instagram, my X account, and my TikTok as well. Be sure to follow my TikTok page because that's where I will be posting the match review for this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Bye, guys.